Hello everyone, this is Tom Mason and I'm back with this week's video for Sculptember week 3. So did a lot more work on the goblin, finally got the main body blocked in, and you'll see how far I come along with this as we move along. But I wanted to share something that I kind of realized as I have been going through Sculptember is, man, it is hard for me to want to post every day. And it's not because I have to do it. It's because I feel like I don't have that much to show for myself. I don't mind showing work in progress, but I like to show more of a progression from day to day. And I just don't have a lot of time to be able to make great strides every time I post. So sometimes kind of looks like I didn't do much, but anyways, it's still good, still making progress. And yeah, I'm really enjoying working in ZBrush again. So I had a kind of a mishap there a bit ago where I polygrouped a leg, two parts of a leg together, and so I couldn't separate them, and I figured out a really weird convoluted way. And then as I worked a little further, I rediscovered a much easier way to separate shapes into separate groups so you can select them. So that was kind of fun. But that's really been what this whole thing's been, because I really have a good grasp and memory of the general principles of how I need to go about working and sculpting in ZBrush still. So it's really come down to just remembering some of the exact functions and whatnot, some of the more technical stuff. But all in all, it's I feel like it's going really well, and I'm definitely on track to get this figure finished by the end of the month, which was always my goal, to kind of get back into the swing of things and have something to show for it. One of the things I really enjoyed doing was taking a break from sculpting to work on some concept art. I've always said this, but it's very helpful to sculpt from a drawing and kind of work things out. Even if you're not drawing it yourself, look up some reference and figure things out ahead of time. It really goes a long way to help give you the freedom to just sculpt and pose the figure without having to work things out in the program itself. And finally, I get to start posing the figure. Had some technical things to work out as far as placing and scaling the mace. You'll see here that I'll spend a good amount of time, I think, getting that into place, and then I find out that the handle's too short and have to actually go back and adjust that. But I kind of jumped ahead. At this point, I'm just worrying about the body. I'm not worrying about the hands or the piece of equipment, where that's going to go. I'm just trying to give, I decided to go with a fairly plain pose out of the ones I drew, just because I didn't want to take forever. I've got lots of goblins to sculpt. I'm sure I'll end up using all those poses. So I just decided to choose one that was pretty simple and straightforward. This is really the first time I was really diving into using the gizmo tool. I was kind of learning it a bit before when I was making the base model, but using it to pose was awesome, and it just made... There were so many different functions at my fingertips, and I just absolutely loved it. I wanted to take a moment to highlight two of my students and patrons over on Patreon who are doing some really cool stuff. The first one is Antoine Bergeron, and I hope I pronounced that right. He is doing these really, really cool, fun, stuffed, cartoony kind of creatures. This first one here is actually a piece he did for the company he works for as a little mascot piece, but the other ones that you see here, these other two, he actually casts, and you can get a hold of him and buy them from him. Very fun little pieces. Check out the links in the description below. Next, I received this awesome little care package from Michael Hunter up in Canada. He started off sculpting larger figures, but ended up following some of my tutorials and stuff, and started sculpting these smaller 35, 38 millimeter guys. This is one of his Crusader Knights. He generously sent me a copy of a piece that he cast up. It's very, very cool looking. Great job, Michael. It's always so awesome seeing what other people are creating, and it really means a lot when I know that I had a hand in helping them in their sculpting journey. So yeah, I'd like to share that whenever I can. Well, this is the home stretch for the week. I'm as you can see, this is me kind of fixing the mace, making the handle a little longer, and then I will start getting it into position and pose his right hand. And as I commented on Instagram when I was posting this, man, it was funny. It ended up taking me just about as long to pose this one hand as it did to pose the whole body. Because it's true what they say, hands are one of the trickiest things to kind of master, whether you're drawing it or sculpting it, any of that. There's so many parts, so much fidelity to it to make it look cool and interesting. Alright, well that's it for this week. I will see you next week, and don't forget, keep sculpting!